Miss Mona for years had been red-hot lovers and real good friends, but trouble snowballed like an avalanche at the Chicken Ranch. When Melvin Thorpe, a reporter of sorts, a self-righteous crusading fanatic, got on TV like you wouldn't believe and pointed a finger right at it, exposing Miss Mona, accusing the sheriff, then it rose to a roar from a whimper. It got all out of hand, a fit hit the fan when Thorpe stirred up everyone's temper. The Chicken Ranch has been recouped in the song and dance, and I know you wouldn't want to miss the chance to come to the Chicken Ranch. It's foot stomping, rug romping, sexy, good fun. Come on down and bring someone. There's good times and trouble and fiery romance at the best little Texas Chicken Ranch.
Come on, partner.
Y'all come back now, you hear?
Welcome back to the show, everybody.
Welcome back.
Oh man, this movie's really fun.
This movie is a blast. I'm excited to talk about it.
I'm very glad we got a chance to get around to it. Everybody out there listening, my name's Pete.
And I'm Scott, and these are the movies that made us gay.
Yes, indeed.
Welcome back to the show. Ben Cheaves from TCM Slumber Ground.
Hey, guys.
And we have a Southerner on our call to go with The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, directed by Colin Higgins, released July 23rd, 1982. Of course, starring Dolly and Burt.
And Jim Neighbors.
What a crew, right?
Yeah.
They were hot stuff at that time, like 1982, but Burt Reynolds was huge.
Huge! Oh, my God, yeah. And, I mean, you want to talk huge Dolly.
Yeah.
In this movie.
Yeah.
Everything about her's big. And
vintage,
I love it.
early 80s Dolly.
Circle hair Dolly was my favorite.
Absolutely.
She has a perfect spear. That wig is like a perfect circle. That's my favorite era of Dolly.
Yep. And much like now, it is platinum, like white.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah.
Yes. And, you know,
I was so obsessed with her as a kid.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Me too. Very obsessed with her.
We all were.
And Burt, yeah, of course. But, you know, Dolly, I think, went through kind of phases with, like, her, obviously with her look, but with her body, too. You know, when we come to Steel Magnolias in 88, she's so thin.
She has that teeny little waist.
So thin. And this movie, she's not heavy by any means, but she's just a little bit more filled out, you know.
Yeah, she's thick. Like,
Yeah, and here and in 9 to 5 as well. But, yeah, you're right, that perfect sphere of hair, that blonde football helmet.
I always sort of take for granted of Dolly's film work, but when you look at her filmography, I mean, she had really only just done 9 to 5 up until this movie.
9 to 5 was her first thing, and they had to kind of convince her to do it.
Yeah.
You know, she wasn't convinced she could act and pull it off. And she was like, I'll do it if you can let me write the theme song. And so I feel like after the success of 9 to 5, she had some weight to throw around for the production of this one.
Burt was paid more.
Well,
but I mean, Burt was a pretty huge film star at the time.
Yeah, because he had just done Cannonball Run and like still high off Smokey and the Bandit, and
You know, it's interesting that Dolly has said through the years, you know, that she's not an actress. You know, she's a singer and she's a personality and all of that stuff. But she actually has some really strong scenes in this movie.
Yeah.
Against her, you know?
It's her movie for sure.
Yeah.
And like, you know, I mean, like when I was watching, I was like, oh, like the temptation would be for her to kind of play up like some Mae West stereotypes, but I feel like she kind of like finds her own take on, you know, the Madame character. So
yeah,
like she does a good job.
Yeah, and I'm not too familiar with the stage production of this.
I'm not at all,
yeah.
Other than a quick brush up on Wikipedia for this.
Exactly. So, but what we do know is that, like you said, she added songs to the movie.
So apparently, I was reading that like Willie Nelson was first attached to be the Burt Reynolds role, and then
that would have been
Burt Reynolds
insane.
Got attached. Yeah. Some of the other people they mentioned were like Diane Cannon,
Jill Clayburgh. I read.
Yeah,
that would have been interesting.
But then once Burt Reynolds came on, she was like, I think Dolly pushed for them to be a couple and for it to be like a romance, a romance, which I can't even imagine if it wasn't. Like, what would be the point of the story?
Yeah, that's the thing, because as we got to the end of the movie, I'm thinking, well, how does the show end? Because I don't think they have a romance in the show. It's kind of like they had a fling in their past, and that's why he's cool with her as the sheriff. But, in this movie, they're having a legit long-term affair.
Sneaking around.
Yeah, around.
And I take it that he was a client back in the day, and then he just sort of turned into her side piece as the years went on.
Yeah.
And it probably helps when you're the madam of a whorehouse that your side piece is the county sheriff, too.
Yeah.
It's beneficial. Everyone benefits.
Yes. But, I don't even think it's a side piece situation, because she confesses later on that she hasn't been with anybody else but him for 3 years.
And he confessed.
And he says the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Despite the woman in town.
I was going to say, there is the ambiguous relationship with the woman in town where he goes to have dinners with her.
He goes over and has dinner with her son and watches the college football game with their son.
The son from Silver Spoons. He was like Ricky Schroeder's friend.
Oh, was it? Okay.
I can't remember his name, like Dexter or something like that.
Oh, it was Dexter. I remember. Yeah, it was definitely Dexter. I remember now. Okay. Yes. You're absolutely right. I love Silver Spoons. Not so much anymore, but I did.
Yeah.
So, Ben, what is your past with this material? Or kind of more interesting, I mean, you're from the South. You're from Georgia. What is your past with someone like Burt Reynolds? I'm kind of curious about that.
I mean, like, I think Burt Reynolds, like, for the South, he's kind of like a Dean Martin type character.
Yeah.
Where, like, everybody loves him, and, like, he's just a cool guy. Like, all guys love him, and all the women want to sleep with him. He's just, like, that kind of cool... and he always kind of plays that character of, like, acting sort of drunk. He was, like, a talk show personality. He was on Johnny Carson all the time. Like, when he wasn't doing movies, he was kind of being that, like, kind of drunk asshole on TV.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, he is loved in this area. Like, Smokey Bandit was actually filmed, like, in the part of Atlanta I'm from, like Jonesboro, Georgia. So it's like he is a folk hero down there.
I hadn't seen Smokey and the Bandit until recently. I think I watched it when Millie and Danielle covered it on their podcast. I Saw What You Did, and I sat down and watched it, and I was just thoroughly charmed. Like, it was so much fun.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a weird movie where it feels like most of it's improv.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And you can, like, I mean, like, him and Sally Field, like, hooked up on that movie and were together for years. I mean, like, they met and, like, instantly, like, chemistry sparked.
I love the idea, like you said, about being a personality on the talk show circuit in the 70s and early 80s, and how you could kind of make a career move out of that.
We just talked about that in our last episode with the guy from the Muppets.
With Paul Williams.
With Paul Williams.
Yeah, Paul Williams also was very much a...
Who's in Smokey and the Bandit.
Yeah. And, Burt kind of did the talk show circuit with Dom DeLuise.
Yeah.
Like, weren't they kind of a pair, like, that they would kind of show up?
Yeah, they did a bunch of movies together.
Yeah.
And,
just kind of a pre-Ben and Matt of the 70s.
Yeah, I mean, he had a little bit of their own Rat Pack. I mean, to continue that analogy, like Jerry Reed was in that, and like Dom DeLuise, and even the Charles Durning was in some of the movies with him before, and Burt brought him on to be in this.
Charles Durning in this movie.
Those scenes are out of control.
I can watch that song and dance any day of the week. And, oh my goodness!
I just watched Dog Day Afternoon recently for the first time, and like kind of had a crush on Charles Durning. I was like, it's kind of a babe in it.
Yeah,
I was like, all right, I wasn't prepared for that, but here we are.
He does this move, and I don't know if it's only in the kind of closing credits montage or if it's in the actual song and dance, where he puts his cowboy hat on sideways and then turns his head real fast, and it fits. And I was like, yeah, I was
showing up and showing out. I mean, he got that Oscar nomination. Like Catherine Zeta-Jones pretty much got the Oscar from the opening scene of Chicago. It was something kind of similar to Charles in this number that just like write his name in your top 5.
Yeah, very memorable.
Yeah. I bet Burt was a little stung by that. He never got his Oscar noms.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, well, he would get one later for Boogie Nights.
Yeah.
Kind of a career comeback. I always think of whenever I see Dom DeLuise and Burt Reynolds on screen together, I always think of All Dogs Go to Heaven. Because Burt plays Charlie, and Itchy is voiced by Dom DeLuise.
Yeah, this is for our
aging millennials out there.
Aging millennials listening. Yeah, I just think of the two of them on Carson, just like drunk off their asses, just like.
I was talking to this about this movie to a friend last night, and they were saying that despite what you might think that the football locker room scene is the gayest scene, he was like, actually, it's Dom DeLuise, like making Burt Reynolds help him get dressed.
Oh yeah, zipping up that girdle,
stuffing his.
Oh man, so, yeah. Wow. This character that Dom DeLuise plays is amazing. What is his character's name? Is crazy.
Is it Melvin P. Thorpe?
Yeah, Melvin P. Thorpe and Marvin Thorpe, and he's based on a real news personality.
I mean, I guess this was Texas. Pre-cable news when pretty much everything now, when you turn on Fox News and CNN, everything is editorials. So I guess this was just sort of the early days of something like that.
Yeah. But yeah, you mentioned it before. In the early '80s, there was this influx of consumer reports on the news and watchdog news, news guys and watching out for you, the little person at home, and all of that, and this actual real news personality that they base his character on kind of pioneered that, I guess, which is crazy.
And this real life person ended up taking down the chicken farm,
the chicken ranch,
the chicken ranch in real life.
The chicken ranch.
Oh,
yeah.
I mean, okay, so we should we should talk a little bit about, I guess, the real chicken ranch and the story of this movie.
It is outside of Austin, right? That's where it's set?
LaGrange, Texas.
Yeah, LaGrange. Yeah, and then they mentioned
the only thing I know about that is ZZ Top.
Yeah. So the Chicken Ranch was a real Texas institution, was an actual brothel, bordello, what have you, that ran for almost 100 years and was ultimately shut down by Marvin Zindler. He, like we said, he was an investigative news reporter. He pioneered this watchdog news journalism on local news in Texas. He also started the whole news outlets reporting on restaurant closures.
Oh, yeah, it's like the Roach and Rodents
the Roach Report, and it's and the LA Times has that section in it every week. There's you can go right to that page and it shows all the restaurants and why they're shut down. And I guess this person really kind of pioneered that as well. So it's I guess he's working for the people. We should know those things, but on the other hand, he's doing.
But he also sort of has his own agenda behind it.
Yeah. I feel in the movie it's kind of played up, maybe kind of a reaction to the Reagan era that had just come to life, and it's kind of playing out the moral majority of it versus maybe what he was more of a actually normal person.
Yeah, totally.
So I read that his beef was that with the movie was that his whole desire to get the place closed was more because of mob and organized crime stuff, and not because of prostitution.
Right. And there's a line in there in the movie that they said that it's linked to organized crime, but it's in the movie it's not at all.
Yeah.
But I think they're playing that up for sensationalism. And Dom DeLuise as this role is wearing these crazy costumes. He's got that beetle wig.
Yeah.
It's obviously just this huge caricature.
His Liberace flag uniform that he does all of his
right out of Righteous
numbers too.
Yeah. Yeah. And I mean, Dom DeLuise, what a character, man. Yeah. It's
love.
And I love that Dom DeLuise the DeLuises were a B-list Baldwin family, that all of the DeLuises were actors.
His son.
I always just know the DeLuise guy that was in Encino Man.
One of his sons.
Wait,
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Is that the one from 21 Jump Street? I just know his son because his son was hot.
Well, that's the thing. He has 3 sons, and they're all actors. And 2 of them were on 21 Jump Street, and the hot one was and the hot one was the one that was on in Encino Man as well.
Okay,
and I forget all their names. We can look that up. But yeah, he has this like legacy of acting sons. And it's interesting because I'm watching this movie and I'm thinking in my head I have this image of Dom DeLuise as just being like 350 pounds. He's not that. He's not that big in this movie at all.
You're right.
Yeah, he's just sort of
he's got a big round face.
He's just sort of a small, portly man.
He's got a big round face, but his body. It's not like he's this huge, grotesque like that dude. And I don't know if it's just my memories of him from History of the World playing this like kind of disgusting emperor.
His like self-deprecation is always the bad guy. So but that's kind of what I always think of him too.
Yeah. But I think he also did kind of fluctuate up and down a little bit. So this might have been like a thinner phase for him, But so Dolly plays Mona. Mona, the proprietress of the Chicken Ranch.
I love her business savvy in this movie.
Well, that's the thing about this character and the way she plays. She's playing it, and the way the Chicken Ranch is run. It's like this is a business.
She runs it as a tight ship.
Yeah, and she's like, I've got taxes to pay, I've got overhead, I've got shit to do, and
her list of rules.
Oh my God!
No drinking allowed.
No, it's keep your language clean, keep your bedrooms neat. Don't hang around in town. Mind your P's and Q's and your manners. Don't wallow in your bed. Don't tie up the phone. No tattoos. Don't let your mouth overload your capabilities. I'm not exactly sure. Get rid of any bad habits. No chewing gum. Don't fuck around with sick leave. And if the bell rings, you better get here quick.
All right.
So...
All right.
Whenever we go to Palm Springs, I had not really seen this movie in its entirety until recently, but we were familiar with numbers of this movie because we go to a gay bar in Palm Springs I've talked about on the show named Quads, and you always see the opening number.
Nothing dirty going on.
Nothing dirty going on right here. And the locker room scene.
The Aggie song.
And I remember when the Aggie song first came on, we were just like, what the hell is this? What is this from? And then it finally clicked. It's from the best little whorehouse in Texas. And when the little old bitty peasant country, pissant country play song comes on, the entire bar loses their goddamn mind. When you see that shot of Dolly coming down the stairs
in the red dress,
looking beautiful.
People like lose their fucking mind. When that comes on.
All those girls, too, are just like
The
amazing.
girls are... Oh, my God. We have to talk...
I want like the paper doll book.
Oh.
Exactly. I was thinking about that today. I want all of these girls in paper dolls. I want to dress them.
I want them to get their own sitcom, their own series, like Facts of Life, where there's like 16 of them living in a house and like trying to make it.
Well, what I love about the girls is that, this movie is set... I mean, it's 1982. Right, it's 1982, so it's contemporary. It's not supposed to be throwback or anything. But Dolly is very much like this old timey, like saloon girl, but in country madam, in her appearance wise. But the girls are very contemporary to 1982. So there's like disco, like tight,
so much satin pants.
Shiny satin pants, tight. There's the one like Pat Benatar girl.
Love her.
Love her.
She looks like the Dirty Dancing. Has that Dirty Dancing backup?
Yes.
I was wondering if that was her. I don't think that they are. Yeah,
it's not the same girl.
I tried to look up to see if any of them were famous, and like some of them would have been on sitcoms.
So the beautiful Asian woman directs TV now. Her name is Lily Marie, and she was a series regular on ER, and she directs episodes of TV now. She has done episodes of The Walking Dead. How do you like that?
Okay.
But she got rid of any bad habits she came in.
There you go.
Like just kind of went on to have a very prolific career in directing.
But, I mean, I'm still fascinated with the Joyce DeWitt haircut. Girl. I mean, she's my favorite.
I love her, and there's one that like looks a little bit like kind of Delta Burke-ish. Like she's at the end, she's the one that says like, maybe I'll hit the bars.
Oh, yeah.
I like the young blonde one. I like the young blonde one that you take it that this is like the kid. This is sort of like the newbie.
Oh, with like the side hair.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
She always has like her jacket around her shoulder, kind of like a middle school
brat.
Yeah.
Well, I guess the characters in the show have a little bit more to do, the girls, and they kind of did that in the movie, but they cut their scenes.
I saw that. Yeah, there was like some character from New York. I was like, I bet that's her because she's got a lot of story to tell.
Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
I also love the part when they go out in the yard and all the girls are like doing some kind of hobby.
Yeah.
Like playing the violin and the flute and like
sunbathing
and like doing some fashion photography on the side.
Oh, sunbathing with the giant. I mean, how you got to sunbathe is with the giant reflectors.
I mean, these girls, they are women. They have minds of their own. They've got, wants and needs and likes. We're just illustrating all that there. And I love it.
So, does the Universal Tram still drive by this house?
I believe
on the backlot tour?
I believe it does. Yeah.
I remember that stop as a kid.
I think okay. So the physical house, obviously out in that field somewhere,
it's outside of Austin.
That's not.
I think pretty close to the small town that they shot in too.
Right.
Yeah.
But there is a house on the Universal Studios backlot that on the old Universal Studios tour, that they would always say, like, this is the house from the best little whorehouse in Texas. And, as a kid, I remember going on, like, I think we did a school field trip to Universal Studios. We, would go as a family to Universal Studios, and we loved the backlot tour. And whenever they would say best little whorehouse in Texas, I would always be like, you can't be saying that. On this tour, there are children. I was a little kid, in 82. Right. I knew Dolly Parton in the 80s. I remember 9 to 5 being a very, very small child, like 5 or 6 years old. But I remember it, and she was that big that even 4, 5, 6-year-old children knew who she was because she was just everywhere. And so I have these memories of knowing her and loving 9 to 5 and all of that. But also being a little kid and thinking that this movie was just scandalous.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Yeah. I was like, couldn't see it as a kid. I was like, was not allowed. And then I don't know when. I think I maybe saw it like in middle school or high school or something. Finally, like on cable sometime.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, like Dolly Parton was just huge here in the South. Like, and I'm sure everywhere, but there was like country music fever in the early '80s. Like, Urban Cowboy was huge. We watched that all the time. Kenny Rogers was doing movies. Like, he did like Six Pack, and then they did their like album together. I think actually they did like Islands in the Stream like the year after was '83.
Okay,
their Christmas album is great.
Album together, yeah. So in my mind, I think like I thought that they were a couple. I was just like, Kenny and Dolly were married, and like the best couple ever.
Yes, I remember loving the Mandrell Sisters variety show.
She was one of the people that was considered for the part too.
Barbara Mandrell. Okay.
Yeah, I was obsessed with that show so much. Oh my god, like
loved it.
What's her name? Like, is it
Earlene?
Earlene was the ditzy one.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah, there was the blonde one was the ditzy one, and then there was a dark-haired one, and then Barbara was like the older, like stateswoman, and that was just on primetime TV.
We're huge.
Yeah,
oh my god,
yeah. It was an amazing time for country and western music, the early '80s. But I feel like even the title alone was scandalous, and I think that I read that it was like kind of censored.
I think they had to rebrand it with another name when they sold it in other states.
Yeah,
I can't remember what they retitled it as.
Well, I read that Dolly in a lot of interviews referred to it as the best little chicken house in Texas.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and some markets just straight up would bleep it on radio ads, things like that.
I mean, it probably helped contribute to its huge box office success. When this was released in summer of '82, it dethroned E.T. the Extraterrestrial after being number one at the box office for 6 weeks.
Wow.
And it had the biggest weekend for a movie musical ever at the time.
I read that it was the biggest musical of the '80s, like box office.
Yeah, probably.
It's crazy.
That's
like
insane.
Bigger than Annie.
Yeah, yeah, bigger than Annie, bigger than Dirty Dancing. Yeah, wild.
Yeah.
Well, traditional movie musical.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Dirty Dancing is not a musical. You're right. I don't know what I'm thinking. Okay, so we're talking about Burt Reynolds being just like a national treasure at the time, Dolly as well. And one of their early scenes together in the movie is like a hookup. They're just like daytime, afternoon delight.
Yeah.
And
she just bought her new Fredericks of Hollywood lingerie to show him.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that she goes to town in her Annie Oakley businesswoman outfit and drives to town, and then she's picks up her Fredericks of Hollywood lingerie at the post office and then goes sleeps with the sheriff.
She goes and talks about her sponsoring a Little League team. I love that. This is just how stand-up this chicken house is. They're just staples to the community. They definitely give back.
Yeah. But I mean, we have to talk about the gift of this black snap-on
Japanese slingshot.
Japanese slingshot Speedo. We get a little shot of Burt,
just a little tease. You don't really see the goods
running from the bed to from the closet to the bed. Oh man,
I love that exchange with Burt in his boxers doing his little shuffle. Towards her with his pants down, and Dolly is just not having these droopy boxer shorts. Dolly wants
she wants that bod.
She wants that bod. She wants that early '80s Mr. Burt Reynolds.
Mr. Burt Reynolds. Oh,
she wants the Cosmopolitan spread.
Yeah. Yes. Absolutely.
And she comes out looking amazing.
Yeah.
In the Fredericks of Hollywood too. You're like, oh my god, her body.
Yeah.
Beautiful cinched waist.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And those cans. Those epic gazungas. But it's so funny because we're watching, she's tosses him she gives him the Japanese slingshot, and he's just like, what is this? Blah, blah, blah. And Scott's like, it's got snaps on it. We're
Quick reveal.
Oh, international mail.
Yeah, very international mail. I love it. And we don't get to see it, but she kind of snatches it off him under the covers, and she's like, "That's what them snaps are for." And oh man, so good. So I guess they're giving a little something for everybody in this movie. It's not just Dolly and the hooers. But it's funny because for a movie about a whorehouse, and there's all these girls and they're dancers and all of that, they are in skimpy lingerie, sexy lingerie, as the girls of Facts of Life would go on to be called. But for the most part, they're pretty covered.
You see some nips.
We see some nips, but it's in the scene where Dom DeLuise kind of infiltrates them, and that and that's a big gotcha moment. So that's kind of not really fair. But it's I think you see more bare ass men in this movie.
Yeah, you do.
Yes, than the women.
Yeah, I mean, the way that sex is treated in here is with such joy and not everyone's all the guys are so happy and jumping up and down just to be having sex, and it's what is sex like for you guys? I mean, they're just it's a candy or a toy. It's not even something naughty.
Yeah, but also too, the men that are clearly married and cheating on their wives are not really treated as villains because they're doing that. They're just oh, there's a senator. How's the wife doing? How are your kids?
Right.
And Mona doesn't look down on them, and I don't think the movie is informing the audience to look down on them because, like you said, they're just having a great time bringing the boys, to the house, and they're respectful to Mona and the girls and all of that because Mona does run it there's no drinking allowed, You
have to be kind and nice to my girls.
Yeah,
right.
So it is interesting the way the movie treats sex and the patrons, of the chicken house.
Overall, it is a sex positive movie and a sex worker positive movie.
You can definitely tell this was released very early into the Reagan years. That I don't know if you get a movie like this later in the 80s.
Sure.
By 85 or 86, they're no. But sex
I mean,
sex
we
worker
can just
positive.
treat sex as a punchline that they don't really have to touch on it, and then no one's getting too upset about it. So
Yeah. So, I'm looking at the song list because there's actually a lot of songs in this.
I love the song between Burt and Dolly that we started the episode on.
Around.
That's one of my favorites of the movie. And I remember when I was a kid, when I was in dance, I remember there was a boy and a girl did a couples dance to this song. And when I revisit this movie now, I'm just like, what was our dance instructor thinking? Like putting two children dancing around to this song.
They were thinking some good stuff. They were all about it. I love it.
I love when she's like, Cheerios. Her like giggles and asides and that soft like whisper voice that she always does. Love it.
Yeah.
And the Burt laugh, the iconic Burt Reynolds laugh.
The character of Dolly or of Mona's, I mean, I don't know. Is she a maid? Housekeeper, right-hand woman.
She helps keep the girls in line and probably runs the show with Dolly.
Yeah, it's just the standard like problematic.
Yeah. That was the one thing we were like, okay, maybe this character wouldn't fly
and that's
today.
the thing is that I think that the last big revival of this musical was in the early 2000s with Anne Margaret. And I don't think that anything major has been done with it since. And I mean, not saying that it couldn't work. The songs are great, but you would have to definitely retool elements of the story to kind of work now. And this would be the character that you'd have to rework a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
I want to talk a little bit about Jim Neighbors.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of narrates the movie. A very Dukes of Hazzard narration in this movie, too. I love that.
His voice is like so kind of specifically Alabama. His accent is.
Okay.
I just love it's that like kind of high pitched Southern voice.
Yeah, a little nasal. Yeah.
Now, would Jim Neighbors also work the talk show circuit in the 70s and the 80s?
I mean, I would think so because he was like Gomer Pyle. Like he had a lot of stuff going on. He like released albums.
Yeah. He did. Was it gospel albums or just
I think they're gospel.
I always just
secular.
My only context for Jim Neighbors is the Simpsons line Mr. Burns has.
Begin the thawing of Jim Neighbors. Well, there's also the line where Homer's looking through the records and he's like, the Doodletown Pipers, Jim Neighbors Christmas. These records are terrible. But Jim Neighbors.
Did you know about the?
I was going to say, did he come out as gay, or was it revealed that he was gay like later in life?
Yeah, so he got married, and sometime in the 2000s, I guess, after like gay marriage was legalized, and he got married to his partner that he had been with since the 70s.
Wow.
So he was kind of like out, but not like publicly, but like everyone who knew him knew that he was gay.
As out as he could have been at that time.
Open secret, yeah.
Yeah. But also he there's that famous story about him and Rock Hudson. Like there was like a bunch of gays that would throw like an annual party, and they would have like a wedding. Like the invitation would be a fake wedding, and one year it was like, please come to the wedding reception for Rock Hudson and Jim Neighbors, and it got leaked out to the press, and like it became such a rumor that they had to both like kind of publicly address it that no, we're not secretly married. But
oh wow!
It was all just calls by these gays who like these campy gays who threw a party.
That's kind of amazing.
I want to go to that party.
I know, right?
The fake wedding. Wow. Yeah. So his character's kind of amazing in this movie. It's just like this like dim-witted deputy,
sheriff deputy. Yep.
Yeah, who just kind of he's narrating, he's giving us his take on everything.
He has some cute back and forths when he goes over to the chicken house. He gets the slingshot briefs and he brings them over to Burt.
Someone inquires about his tallywhacker or his pecker or something.
Yeah, they think they say tallywhacker. How's your tallywhacker hanging? And he's like, "Oh, all right." Oh my goodness. So, okay, what are some of our favorite songs? I love, what is it? There's a whorehouse in Texas. when we first Texas has a whorehouse in it.
It's Dom DeLuise's big number.
Yeah, it's his intro number.
Yeah.
That, you know,
total righteous tombstones.
Yeah,
like clogging and dancing, singing and having some fun.
Yeah, and like our thing is like, what is this show that he has?
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's like live on the scene, you know.
It almost gives me like a Jim and Tammy Baker vibe to it, but it's clearly not completely religious.
Yeah,
too.
It's just,
I don't know.
It's just like self-righteous, like, I don't know, just watchdog kind of stuff, because he calls himself like, you know. What
do they call that from? Who is the moral majority?
Yeah,
in the 80s.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the Reagan moral majority, and like, but done with song and dance. So like, who wouldn't tune in?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and he kind of like bamboozles Burt Reynolds into like appearances, right? Or into this appearance. Just kind of saying he's going to talk to him, but then he kind of does that like that gotcha journalism of like, and we've got the sheriff here and he knows what's going on, and but Texas Has a Whorehouse in It is actually a really fun song.
It's stuck in my head for a few days.
Yeah. And then there's like the whole town square, you know, situation where Burt kind of bullies him into the fountain.
Mm-hmm.
But I love this town square because it looks almost fake.
I mean, this is kind of how town squares look like in this part of the country. You get the old stone courthouse.
Yeah.
I remember seeing courthouses like that growing up in rural Montana, and just very like all-American country small town.
Yeah. It seems that would have been like, you know, the one thing in town.
Yeah. But that seems really funny though, where Burt kind of like confronts him in the town square.
Yeah, and especially that it cuts together very differently in the news broadcast as it did there reading it in person too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I love how they just bleep everything. every word out of his mouth, they're just bleeping. It's actually really funny. Like, I think they do a really good job of all that. But there's like too much heat on the chicken ranch, and so he kind of asks Mona to
close down for 2 months, just as things cool down.
Simmer down now, yeah.
Simmer down.
and close for 2 months.
Yeah.
How the hell is she gonna stay in business?
She's got bills to pay.
She has got bills. She's got to keep that light.
She's trying to pay the rent, the utilities.
Yeah, she's got to keep those lights on. Oh man, but but it's right at the time of the Texas A&M versus
Thanksgiving game.
Yeah, it's Texas A&M versus another college in Texas. Yeah. They're crosstown rivals.
Team, who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, I take it that it's the two state schools.
Yeah, and I
going
mean
head to head. That's always a big deal.
Yeah, they're the crosstown rivals, and Texas A&M wins, and they're the Aggies, the Fighting Aggies, and we get the infamous.
I have died and gone to heaven, and this is. I mean, just the Aggie song just playing on repeat in heaven. It's out of control
in the waiting room,
and I love it so much.
I love the little like blonde, strawberry blonde elf looking guy.
He's kind of the lead of the song. Splits. Yeah.
Well, is he the one that's like he's not really on a player? He's just kind of like pushing
like a towel boy.
Towel boy kind of a situation. Yeah.
I don't know if I would be hopping in that laundry.
Well,
with all of those towels.
I know. I was going to say some would. I love though that this team is filled with these like Peter Berlin looking.
I know.
Bowl haircut heaven, you know.
The most strapping guys on Broadway.
Well, I was gonna say none of them have the build of a college football player.
They all definitely have those Speedo tan lines, though, so you could tell that they were spending weekends on like Fire Island.
Yeah. These are not the Chicago Bears.
No, they are built like Broadway dancers.
Yeah,
and I mean, thank goodness for all of us.
Yeah. Seeing this with the crowd in a bar is always really fun.
Oh yeah,
it always gets the party started.
Dancing jock straps is just it's a hit.
It is a hit, and I mean, you know, in a cinematic culture and climate like the early '80s, male nudity is few and far between. And I think
I know all the instances of it.
Exactly, we all do. We all have them written down somewhere, time stamped, so we can pause it just right. But in this movie, it's just like on show. For all of us to see, and it's refreshing.
Yeah, this number's a lot of fun. So there is an extended version of this number on YouTube.
I tried to find that, but I didn't find that, but I found the 1979 Tony broadcast where they did this, and
what?
Obviously, and they had to bleep out a lot of the words, but they do this kind of funny noise. I can't remember what it is, that to bleep out the song. So look for that on YouTube.
Interesting. We actually found the unrated version, but a couple of years ago, and it was a real grainy.
Yeah, it was pretty. Well, and you can also tell that the scenes that were cut because the film grade looks different. They had cut it in from the movie, and they put in the extended scenes of it.
Yeah, and I don't remember, was there full wiener on display?
I think there might have been.
Okay,
I mean that shower shot. If they were to just move to the right, just a quarter of a centimeter, you would definitely get some dick.
Yeah.
Change a rooster to a hen in a second.
I mean, it's bordering on. Can't Stop the.
It's like Starship Troopers.
Yeah, it's like Starship Troopers. It's like Can't Stop the Music and the YMCA.
Yeah,
I love their locker room hoedown.
Yeah,
that it is some good dancing.
Yeah,
those are some splits like I've never seen.
Yes, I mean, not only do we get to see some buns and some jock straps, but we get to see some actual really good dancing, some splits, some
white jeans,
white jeans galore. Yeah,
those high socks. In the
in cowboy boots.
The cowboy boots always kill me.
Yeah, I love that it's white jeans or it's those Wrangler action slacks.
Yeah,
the boot cut action slack. It's cut like denim, but yeah, man. Do they still sell those at Walmart? Probably in certain markets. I don't know if they sell them in ours.
Right outside of, I bet I can get some.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember not from this movie, but from Steel Magnolias, and I think maybe what's the hockey movie, Slapshot or something.
Oh yeah,
but I just remember, I just remember being a young child who did not play sports and just being kind of like,
why does that underwear not have a back on it?
Yeah, jock straps, just being like, what in the hell is going on here?
Yeah, I don't know what I thought of that. Yeah, it was a mystery.
One day I'm
gonna get to high school and figure that out.
They're an engineering mystery. How do you get it on? How do you get it on? How does it stay up? Who knows? But thank goodness for them, and they're galore in this movie. And let me also say that when all of those college football players / Broadway dancers are hanging off the side of that bus.
That shot of the main guy going out of the bus and getting right above the tire and just kicking back,
hanging off of it.
Yeah,
yeah, it is terrifying.
Yeah.
You're right.
People crawling out the windows. Yeah. When the tire blows,
just pouring beer right out the can.
When the tire blows and it's swerving back and forth, I'm just like, oh my god,
an unnecessary heart.
Yeah.
Heart flutter for me.
It's a little like Muppet movie, but
I mean, what else is Muppet movies is when Pops picks them up in his farm truck and they all pile in, and that shot of them going towards the chicken house.
One more mile.
All of those guys, it's just this truck full of men that there's probably 30 of these dancers,
and now they're all in a pickup truck.
Yeah.
Right.
And I like that they just invite in.
Yeah,
and I like that they just invite in Gramps.
Yeah, they're like,
to have a good time.
We're here. So Mona has a whole surprise party set up for them. But it's like, do these boys even want this party? Can we just cut the song and dance?
They have to get in their debutante dresses.
Their tearaway debutante dresses.
I'm on likes a show. I mean, with Burt, we learned that she likes a little bit of pageantry before. She wants a little bit of foreplay.
That's true, so. and we're okay with it because it is another good dance number.
She wants to show these boys a good time.
Yeah. But from here we get Marvin and his crew fully breaking and entering.
Yeah. I love that. Like right before that, they cut to a shot of Dolly in the bedroom doing the bills. Mm-hmm. She's doing the books and like going through a check with a feather pen
with
and their ledger,
a pink feather pen. Yes,
I love that shot. It cracked me up for some reason.
Yeah, she's just doing it. She just needed like the green visor. Mm-hmm. You know. Oh,
God, I wish.
Yeah, but what I love about this is that, okay, the Aggie boys, they just won the big game. They came to the chicken ranch. They all got their fuck on, and now it's like they're kind of chilling out afterwards. They get to, I guess, stay the night or stay pretty long.
Yeah, I guess.
But what we get is when Marvin and his crew are breaking in, we see kind of some of the setups. And there are some combos going on in these rooms like I was not prepared for.
I definitely wasn't prepared for that ass shot of the missionary position.
Well, yeah, there's one room where there are two couples fully boning right next to each other. And you're like, all right.
Yeah, and they pop up from the top of the window and stuff. Yeah. And the one guy throws the panties on the fan.
Yeah. Yeah. There's the one couple that's like just smoking a doob. Just like, and they don't even care. They're just like, what?
I mean, they're definitely breaking Mona's rules there.
Oh, that's true. That's true.
They're wallowing in bed.
They're wallowing in bed, yeah.
And I hope nobody's on the phone.
I hope nobody's chewing gum. I mean, at this point, on the phone, tying up that phone line.
Don't call in sick.
Yeah. But even poor Grandpa in his like old timey, like in his old timey underwear.
It's like Radcliffe's and versus whatever.
Yeah, but I do love that we get the housekeeper just like tearing it up,
like hitting people over the heads.
She goes like total like Gene Hill.
Yeah,
and just, like about to like bite the bus tire.
That bus tire, just popping it. I was absolutely going to say she's giving me Gene Hill in this scene, just like grabbing these men and throwing them down the stairs. She's
their heads together.
Yeah, like the Three Stooges. Yeah, she's cleaning house. We love it. But, I mean, it's just like that whole sequence of the movie, just starting from the football game, you're just like, all right, okay, this is where it's at for me. Mm-hmm. It's so funny because we always kind of thought, like, when we would see the sequence out of context, like at the video bar, we didn't quite understand that it was a college team. We're like, are these high schoolers?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I guess that makes a little difference.
But then we do see in the movie that it is a huge stadium. We're like, okay, this is
clearly this is college football.
These guys are not underage. But so this is when we find out that she said she was gonna.
Burt gets wind of it and goes over and confronts Dolly. I think this is their best scene as screen partners.
Yeah.
That you can really tell, like, I think not saying that they don't have chemistry in the earlier scenes, because they clearly do, but I think that when they're going toe-to-toe, screaming at each other in this scene, I think that they're both really good in this moment of the movie.
Sheriff Jack Roy Wallace was here. None of this would have
Jack Roy Wallace couldn't hold my
job. Handle the job.
God damn it, Money, you're making me mad.
Woo! Listen at him cuss and shout just like on TV. You're just a kid playing at being a cowboy. You ain't never gonna grow up. You use me as your mistress. You use that damn Dulcie May as your in-town wife. And you even use that little boy of hers so you can play weekend
Leave that little boy out of it.
You're playing it, Earl. You're just a big, overgrown kid playing at being a man.
I don't have to listen to this shit. Damn it! I'm the law, and if I choose to, I'll close this place down till hell freezes over.
Don't you threaten me. I'm telling the truth, and you know it. And all of your big dreams are going to the legislature. That's all they are. They're just dreams. Because you ain't never going to be no more than you are right now. A chicken shit sheriff in a chicken shit town.
And I know that Dolly's kind of said that I think that she got along with Burt on set, but she says that they definitely would butt heads, but in the way that, like, siblings would. And you can really get that chemistry in this moment of the movie where they're screaming at each other.
It made me think that I was like, oh, I can see Dolly going like on a tirade for real. Like I feel like she knows how to yell at somebody.
Yeah.
Because she was going in, she's going in deep.
Yeah, she was.
Like, and probably someone that would call Burt out to his face on set.
Yeah.
Of if she didn't like behavior.
Well, you know what I'm thinking as I'm watching this, and she's going at it. She's going to town. She's calling him names, all that stuff. And Burt Reynolds is not backing down at all. Mm-hmm. And he's Mr. Burt fucking Reynolds. He's like Mr. Burt Reynolds.
Mr. Burt Reynolds.
He's a big guy. He's a force, you know? And as he's throwing it back at her, I'm just like, don't hit her! You know? I'm really feeling like, oh my God, he is really giving, and I'm just feeling so much emotion from him. I was just like, oh, holy shit. I kind of felt like scared for her because he's, you know, giving so much, but she's not backing down either.
Dolly's
so
throwing
it's like,
it right back at him.
It's really powerful because he's such a big, you know, imposing man, and she's like a small woman and all that. But I'm just like, oh man, don't slap her. Don't put a hand on her.
Is there anything more intimidating like Dolly's short little stature and those giant boobs with her hands on her waist?
Yeah.
Like shaking her fist at him? I think not.
Yeah, she is strutting, pacing back and forth too, just working the hips.
Yeah.
Don't let him having it.
Oh man. Yeah, so good.
Yeah.
But
I think you're right. That is their best scene. I do like the scene by the lake when they go get drunker than Cooter Brown.
Yeah, that lake scene is crazy. I think that Pete noted that just the weird Southern Bible stuff going on of talking about spaceships in the Bible.
I'm like, that is some Pentecostal, like, spaceships in the Bible. Oh boy, that shit's there. Just. Yeah.
And that seems like it feels like very kind of like improvised. I know that like Burt Reynolds like to do that and stuff. So like, but they kind of feel like they're just like having like a genuine like kind of chat and joking back and forth.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
so I think that seems charming.
Yeah, definitely.
And I love Cooter Brown. So.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so the whole time we're watching this movie, we're going, where the hell is Charles Durning?
Yeah, I know that Charles Durning got an Oscar nomination for this movie. Where is he? And this movie's going to be over in like 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Yeah, he shows up, turns it out.
Yeah. Is he the governor?
Yeah, I think he's the governor of
Texas.
Texas.
Yeah. And his whole thing is that he's just kind of wishy-washy. He's just like whatever the polls.
Doesn't really give a firm answer.
Yeah.
Doesn't really have a position that you can really decipher on anything.
Right. Same joke we're still making about politicians.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. Nothing really has changed. I love his suit in this movie. Those little arrows in his suit.
Yeah.
It would have been great to see like a full on nudie suit with the rhinestones and everything. But yeah,
that's what I was kind of getting that. I was like, okay, they're going there, but it's not quite there.
Right.
I guess has Burt kind of said that he was the one that suggested Charles Durning? I think he kind of brought him on board.
I think they worked together. I think that I forget who else they said. Oh man, I think Mickey Rooney.
Oh yeah,
I suggested for it because it's an obvious.
Yeah.
Charles Durning's way more fun than Mickey Rooney would have been in a role like this.
I hate Mickey Rooney. Yeah, so I'm glad.
Yeah,
Charles Durning is great.
But that song, it's just like joyful. It's funny. It's like he's so funny, and it's unexpected. You know, you don't think that he's going to go out and turn this performance out, and I'm just watching it, going, all right, it's still going, but I'm okay with it.
yeah, it does go on a little bit.
Because it goes on, but it's great.
All the parts about Dolly blur together. They kind of like erase my memory when I think about the movie. So it's usually just the Dolly parts in my mind. So every time I watch, I'm like, oh yes, this happens too.
Yeah, that's the thing. That's kind of how I feel about it too. Because I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, now we've got this like, I guess he's a televangelist, and now he's out in the town square, and now all that stuff. And you're right, and you're just kind of thinking, where's Dolly? Why isn't she on screen? When is she going to be back on screen? But when they close down the chicken ranch, it's just so final. You're just like, I guess that's it.
And this is when they go into Hard Candy Christmas. And I always forget what a bummer of a song Hard Candy Christmas is. I feel like whenever I'm listening to Dolly mixes and it comes on, I always forget kind of how sad the song is.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
And all of the girls sort of have their own, they have kind of their
They each get a line.
They each get a line as they're packing all their shit and moving on.
It's good to see the girls get lines, but then I'm also thinking, I wish Dolly was just singing the whole
song. Well, like on her albums is her, but I kind of love all the girls. I kind of like this version the best.
Yeah, it's good. It's good that they get it.
I don't know why in my mind I assumed that the house was all decorated during Christmas and this song was sung during that, but not really though.
They really could have played out the Christmas
because they're packing everything up.
This be a Christmas movie that we could program every year. But yeah, it's, they just mention it and barely any kind of decorations or anything's going on with it. So,
but Hard Candy Christmas, great song.
We're having a Hard Candy Christmas party at the bar this afternoon. So
that is very fitting.
All sad country songs.
Hard Candy Christmas night at Mary's.
Yeah. Soon as we get finished with this, I'm going up there.
So I think it's something that I kind of forget about this movie, and I think that a coworker had to tell me about how I Will Always Love You is built into the score. So I Will Always Love You charted in like 73. And then she re-recorded it for this movie, and it charted again. So Dolly got 2 number 1 hits for the same song in 2 different decades. That's so cool.
Yeah. I know that like she originally wrote it as like her goodbye letter to Porter Wagner when she wanted to leave him.
And it totally works for the characters of this movie too. That's what's so cool about it.
Yeah. Yeah, kind of, and it's kind of awkward to just watch Burt Reynolds watch her sing. But yeah, but I mean, it's just such a great song.
Yeah,
and then, you know,
I mean, is it one of the great love songs ever made? I think so.
Sure. Yeah.
I like Dolly's version. I mean, it's so good. I love Whitney's version. It's like it's a great song.
Yeah.
There's no competition. They're great.
My question is, how the hell did those 2 ladies lift up that jukebox to get into the back of that truck?
All 16 of them.
I like to think that I like to think that they had some of their long patrons help out, pack up the house.
Sure. I hope so. Yeah.
Or the housekeeper used that Gene Hill super strength and just picked it up.
She got so mad at them. Peckerhead.
Yeah. Pissant, peckerhead. Yeah. Oh man. So, but yeah, that's the other thing too. It's like the finality of the Chicken Ranch closing and all the girls having
and you just kind of assume that something's going to happen in the last act that's going to save everything, and it just never just never happens.
Well, the happy ending is that they get married.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Which I'm like, what would the movie be without it? It's just that the Chicken Ranch closes and there's no romance or anything. So there's like, what's the story to tell? Otherwise, I can't believe that the play is that way.
Yeah.
I mean,
and I wonder if in the Anne Margaret the Anne Margaret production, if they just used the movie as a template and they just pretty much did it on stage.
Yeah.
Because you're right. It sort of needs that romance to tie it together at the end.
Yeah. Dolly was smart.
Yeah.
I guess so. Like Colin Higgins wrote the I guess adapted this one. I'm not sure if he did or not, but I know that. I know he wrote like 9 to 5 and Harold and Maude and stuff. So I don't know if he did that, or if it was all Dolly who wanted to change the story. But whoever did make it.
I didn't know that he wrote Harold and Maude. He wrote Harold and Maude in Foul Play with Goldie and Chevy.
I love Foul Play too.
I used to love Foul Play as a kid.
All right.
Yeah.
Wow.
And this was, I think, his last movie.
Okay.
I can't remember.
Well, he died in 88.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He's from.
I think he died.
Is he from France? So interesting.
What?
He's French.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, maybe he was just born there.
He was born in France.
To me, as I'm watching it, Miss Mona marrying Ed Earl is a happy ending.
Yeah.
Sure.
But I don't know.
You kind of do like Mona being this boss bitch in this whorehouse and running the show.
Yeah, what do you think she does in her next phase of her?
She has
her life?
to.
Like,
I don't know. Well, he goes on to like become a senator or something.
Oh, okay.
Some state
She
legislature.
would be a good senator's wife.
Yeah. So that's what I'm thinking. She's like, at this point, she gets to like, host part. I don't know. She's gonna be like a Mrs. Peacock hosting parties and taking bribes in men's rooms.
Oh my god, I want to see that crossover.
Yeah, right. Because Gomer at the end, Jim Nabors says, that they got married, and I guess Burt Reynolds' whole thing, or Ed Earl's thing, was that, he wanted to run for state legislature, but they were worried about, being married to a proprietress of a bordello. But Jim Nabors ultimately says like, it's fine, didn't matter, he got elected anyway, and yeah, she goes on to become a Mrs. Peacock type.
Yeah, but I want her to run a business.
Yeah.
She's too good with the books.
Yeah, well, maybe she started some sort of like Texas chapter of like the ladies junior league, and just like got like all the bored wives to get together and do philanthropy. Mm-hmm. She's too good with the book. She's too good with that feather pen. Too quick with that feather pen. I mean, this movie has everything. It has Mr. Burt Reynolds and Dolly.
It's so good.
I would recommend it alone on the merits of the Aggie song. Mm-hmm. That's just like your entryway into it. That's like your guarantee you're going to at least like this. But then,
I mean, like 20 fans to turn in right away. It sucks you in.
Yeah.
Like, there's a little bit of downtime in the middle. Then it picks back up with the Aggie song, and then before you know it, Hard Candy Christmas is coming your way, and you're right back in it.
Yes, absolutely. I think even in the downtime, I think Dom DeLuise is funny enough and so absurd, with this character and all of that it still holds you in. So, yeah, I think you're right. Like, you're there for, like, Dolly and Burt and the big numbers and all that, but there's still enough that it's like, I don't think it gets, too boring or anything. It's just like, it's so good.
Yeah.
Kind of an underrated Christmas classic, too, that you don't normally think about watching this movie during the holiday times. Mm-hmm. But, I mean, it has Hard Candy Christmas in it, so it totally works.
Yeah. And, like, a gay camp classic, too. Just, like, in Nothing Dirty Going On, I love that it's shot like a montage. So you get to see Dolly's costume changes.
When Dolly walks outside in her going to town, getting shit done, country realness. Yeah. It's so good.
I love the Buffy, like, unto every generation chicken ranch that's born like that. They start off with like turn of the century ragtime, and then they go like World War One, World War II, and then like a soda fountain hippie thing. Like, they kind of get everything wrong and weird. And it's like,
it's a little like Laverne and Shirley.
Yeah. I love that, like, it just needs, like, a flapper and, like, a skidoo and, like, a little bit more of that I would love.
Yeah, it's very,
and
like...
then the Depression came.
Yeah, it's very Carousel of Progress. Mm-hmm. Like Disney World.
Seeing the chicken ranch through the years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's when we get our explanation of the name, that during the Depression, nobody had any money, and they just...
Paid with chickens.
Paid with a whole-ass live chicken. And I love the image though. After that, she was like, and we, they started accepting chickens, and then they cut to like hundreds of chickens just running, in this field. Mm-hmm. So good. But yeah, it's just, I think for an early 80s movie that could feel dated, it is dated in the early 80s, but there's just something about that early 80s country and western vibe that kind of makes it feel a little bit more like period, or just, I don't know, just Very
It
cool.
feels like it's telling an older story.
It's a lot of fun.
It makes it feel 80s.
Yeah.
And just
I did look up who did the costumes in this. And it's the same person who did True Beverly Hills. It was like
Love it.
Like, she did some other stuff, like some legit things, like Bonnie and Clyde and things like that. But I was like, True Beverly Hills.
That makes a lot of sense, because doesn't Miss Mona have like a khaki kind of...
Yeah, she has
She has a khaki look.
When she's talking about the pimps, she has that khaki look.
Yeah. Oh, I love that when she says no pimps. Getting the hell out of here.
Get the hell out of here. We can run our own show.
Yeah.
And
by the way, right? She's like coming out the door. And as for pimps.
Yeah.
And just one more thing. Yeah. I mean, it's just the type of 80s blockbuster that you just sadly don't see movies like this made anymore.
Yeah.
That it's that certain crowd-pleasing musical that, I don't know, it's like movies like this have a hard time getting made now. It would be interesting to see an update or a revival of it that they made work now. Just because these songs are just bangers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know, like, who would you get? Like, who's a country star that could pull this off?
Yeah, that's the thing, because Dolly has just kind of like been, burned into our minds as this character.
What
so
about a Casey Musgraves?
I mean, okay, I'll give it to Casey. Mm-hmm. she's got the big hair.
I don't know who would be playing Mr. Burt Reynolds.
Well, that's what I was going to say. Ben, when you were talking about how Burt Reynolds was kind of like thought of, in certain regions of the country as being a man's man that guys loved, guys wanted to be friends with, they emulated. He was, it was okay for a guy to be like, I love Burt Reynolds, he's my hero.
Right.
And not have to preface it with like no homo or anything, and the kind of man that like women just wanted to be with. It's like, do we even have guys like that anymore? Like, I don't think there are men that straight dudes are like, oh, I love him.
Are people like,
I don't know, like The Rock?
Maybe The Rock, but maybe a few of the Marvel guys are kind of like that.
Like a Chris Evans? I don't know.
I mean, this is the point of the show where I'll be putting Blanche's monologue about Mr. Burt Reynolds from his Golden Girls episode.
Et tu, Blanche? Sophia, Mr. Burt Reynolds is one of our finest living actors. Why, he should have won the Oscar for Deliverance, not to mention Starting Over. That Academy's just jealous. I mean, you put Mr. Sir Laurence Olivier in Cannonball Run, see what he can do. Oh, I'm sorry, Sophia, but the answer's no. Fine, break an old lady's heart. If you need me, I'll be out back with the rest of the garbage.
Don't worry, she'll get over it.
And even if she doesn't, who cares? We're gonna meet Burt Reynolds!
That episode with Burt Reynolds is one of my favorites to revisit. I think it's my personal favorite episode of the Golden Girls, where they get put in jail when they think that they're hookers at the hotel.
Yeah. There's a little Little Whorehouse connection.
Yeah. Oh man, but yeah, I often think about that. It's like, there's another line in The Simpsons where that they ask Homer who's Bart's idol, and Homer says Steve McQueen. And Marge says, no, that's your idol. And I often think, like, are there men like that anymore? Like actors or like action stars that men are like, fuck yeah, that guy's where it's at. Like, I don't know.
What's that name? What's that guy? The Jason Statham.
Jason Statham. Yeah.
Yes.
Maybe. They love him.
I think these are all people like 10 years ago. So
yeah. That's what I'm thinking. I'm like, do anybody care about like Vin Diesel anymore? I don't know.
Do you think? I think it's got to be a Marvel guy.
I mean,
you don't want to see them in Best Little Whorehouse.
Maybe people love the Jack Wick movies. Maybe Keanu a little bit.
John Wick. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Paul Rudd.
John Wick.
Paul Rudd.
Sure.
Yeah.
Do guys like Paul Rudd, or do they hate Paul Rudd?
No, I think they do. I think they like him. I think they think he's funny. Yeah. But I don't know. It's a tough call. There's no like a Burt Reynolds kind of type anymore. And that's cool, because I feel like even though there are men that like are into somebody like The Rock, he's cool, but he also has like a little bit too much humor, or I don't know. I think Burt Reynolds was just like, he was funny, but he was funny on his terms. Mm-hmm. Like, he was just like, he was more cool than he was funny.
He was. I think I want it to be. I think I figured out it's Channing Tatum.
Channing Tatum.
Sure.
Yeah.
He could do this role.
Yeah.
Yeah, Channing Tatum, and Channing Tatum's a Southern boy too, so
And
he would be good.
He's
And
like
he's
Florida
funny.
trash.
Yeah.
Best Little Whorehouse in Texas, live on NBC. Channing Tatum and Casey Musgraves.
Let's do it. I'm in.
Yeah.
All in. All right. Oh boy. Yeah. Well, what a fun, not just a Christmas movie, just what a fun musical. I love revisiting this.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. Ben, since it's the holiday times, I've been asking all of our guests, what are your favorite holiday movies to revisit this month?
Shoot. I really love, I love some classic movies, obviously.
Yeah.
I love The Apartment. That's probably my favorite.
Apartment's a really good New Year's Eve movie.
Oh, fun.
Yeah.
I always think of it as a New Year's movie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it technically starts on the night of Halloween and then ends on New Year's Eve. So it's a great all through the holidays movie.
I don't think you've ever seen The Apartment.
I haven't seen it all the way
great.
through. No.
There's another old movie, Remember the Night, with Fred McMurray and Barbara Stanwyck. And it's like it's written by Preston Sturges, and it's like a just kind of classic 40s comedy. And then I really always watch Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Love it.
And any kind of cheesy TV special.
Pee-wee's
Love it.
Holiday Special. We watch it every year.
Yeah.
We haven't revisited it yet.
We love the Christmas special.
We did it last year on the show.
Yeah. Oh,
And
man.
I love Judy Garland's 60s TV Christmas special.
Yep, those
with,
are all on
the whole
YouTube.
family. That's like a
Yeah.
tradition.
We watched it on YouTube last year.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's the whole thing's on YouTube, and I want to watch it again this year because it was fascinating. Love
Yeah,
it.
it's one of my favorite things to watch, like Christmas Eve.
Yeah.
And then if I'm really drunk, the Liberace Christmas special is fun too.
Oh, we need to check out that one.
We'll look for that one on YouTube.
It's really
as well.
boring, obviously, but it's kind of fun.
It's got Lee. We love Lee. Oh man. Well, I mean,
How about you guys?
what do we watch every year? We watch the same things.
We always watch the same things every year. I mean, we've done our Home Alone revisit.
We still have to watch White Christmas.
Have to watch White Christmas. I'm kind of force Pete to watch that every single year.
Yeah.
It's a good one to have on in the background that you just start watching when your parts that you like are on.
Yeah.
We've already done our Gremlins rewatch.
I watched Gremlins.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of fun.
That was my first movie last year. I left the house to go to Gremlins in the
Oh,
middle
nice.
of Coke for
That's
that. So.
Great. We always kind of
Worth it all.
we always
Worth it.
revisit a movie like Edward Scissorhands around the holiday too. That's a good
a great
one.
one, too.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's in there.
Yeah. I mean, we love the holidays.
I mean, even though I say that I love Halloween and I watch a ton of scary movies in October, I'm secretly a Christmas kid. I have been ever since I was little.
Yes.
My boyfriend he's the Christmas queen and I'm the Halloween queen. So we trade off.
Love
Yeah.
it. Love it. Well, I think this year I will be watching The Family Stone for the first time in a long time.
I haven't seen that one.
Our love-hate relationship with the Family Stone knows no bounds. It's one of those movies that I've wanted to program it on the show, and I just haven't been able to.
Yeah. We'll get to it, man.
We'll get to it eventually.
Yeah. I have a lot of things to say about The Family Stone.
I hope the Cats can one day be considered a Christmas
classic.
Yeah, we saw that.
Classic.
We saw that Christmas week. We saw it the weekend that it came out.
In theaters, yeah.
We saw it with the
2019.
same friends that we saw West Side Story with last night. So we got a good we got like a good palate cleanser
Yeah.
of a movie musical that we saw together in the theater.
Yeah, redemption time. But yeah. Oh boy. Well, this has been a lot of fun.
It's been fun to catch up with you, Ben.
Thanks for having me for this movie.
Yeah, thank you.
We
so much.
love watching TCM Slumber Ground. They're always so much fun to watch. And your last one that you did was, which one was it? It was
we did the John Waters.
the John Waters one, Lust in the
it was
Dust and Polyester.
Yeah, the Divine Tab Hunter double feature.
I mean,
We love Polyester.
yeah, Polyester's great. Polyester's not a Christmas movie, right? That's not set during the holidays. I'm just thinking of Female Trouble.
Yeah.
Yes, that's the one.
Another good Christmas movie we'll probably watch.
Yeah, if there's a Christmas tree in it, it counts.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, everybody check out TCM Slumber Ground. It's on YouTube. It's on the TCM channel, correct? Yeah.
Yeah, you can just search Slumber Ground on YouTube. They'll pull up.
And it pops up. It's a lot of fun. We love it. Thank you again for coming on the show.
Glad to be here, as always, anytime.
Yeah, we'd love to have you on for something else in the future. We'll keep you posted, everybody. But until then, Merry Christmas.
Have a hard candy Christmas.
Bye, you guys.
Bye. And thank you so much, everybody, for listening to another episode. We love Dolly. We love Mr. Burt Reynolds. Such a good movie. You can go and watch Best Little Whorehouse in Texas on Tubi for free.
Yeah, it's on
with
Tubi.
Ads.
Tubi's come through with us for like 2 weeks in a row now.
Yeah, coming in clutch.
We just watched But I'm a Cheerleader on Tubi, so they have some good shit on Tubi.
You got to sit through some commercials, but it's free. You don't
watch
have to rent
before the studios take it down, not knowing that it's on there.
Exactly. They're going to pull that ish pretty quick, but until then, go check it out. It's a free app you can download, and it's free movies. Lots of fun. But I think it's just about that time of the show.
Patreon shout-outs?
Yes, indeed. Patreon shout-outs. We would like to say a big hello and thank you to our wonderful patrons. Starting with Alberto, SB, Nicole, Susan, Barry, JJ, Amy, Leighton, Shelby, Michael, Charlie, Paul, Jamie, Drew, Jimmy, Genevieve, Dawn, Josh, Emma, Millie, Aaron, Melinda, and Jim, Jessica, Nick, and Shannon, Christine, and Rufino.
Thank you for being a friend.
Thank you so much, everybody, for subscribing to our Patreon.
Means a lot.
Yes, indeed. Patreon.com/movies that made us gay. You can find a ton of additional content on there. And, you can subscribe monthly and keep your subscription going and your donations going. Thank you so much for that. But if you just want to give it a shot, test it out, you can subscribe. Just make a 1-month donation and cancel it right away. And for the entire month, you'll get access to everything involved in that tier, like Watch With Us commentary tracks, and you can check out all of our past newsletters. We're posting the newsletters directly onto the Patreon feed now, so if you see the most recent one, you can click up in the corner and it'll take you to the back catalog of all of our previous newsletters, which are really fun. We love writing the newsletters. They've got lots of new movie reviews, behind the scenes photos, links to some really cool videos that we talk about during the episodes, really fun stuff like that. So check out Patreon for all that additional content.
Yeah.
Yes, indeed. We'd also love it if you would rate and subscribe and review.
Give us 5 stars.
Exactly. Head over to Apple Podcasts.
I want to hit over 90.
We've got 85 reviews right now in the U.S. We've got 90 reviews total across the globe. So we've got some other reviews from other countries, but they don't show up in the U.S. charts. So
reviews are stars.
Stars. So let's get those 5-star reviews pumping. Also, write us a review, and we'll read it on the show. We read a great review last week that was really touching and heartwarming. We love it. And and all of the other social media platforms. We are on Instagram and Facebook at Movies That Made Us Gay, and we are on Twitter
at MTMUGPod.
Yes, indeed. So go ahead and give us a subscribe and a follow and like all of our posts. Repost, comment, do all that fun stuff. It helps us. You can also follow our personal accounts. My name's Pete, and I am at Peter Lasagna on Instagram and Twitter.
I'm Scott Youngballer on Instagram, and follow my Letterboxd account.
Yes, indeed.
I post to it almost every day.
You post it almost every day. All the new movies that we're seeing in theaters, all the new movies that we're renting at home, lots of fun stuff. Like we said in today's episode, we just watched West Side Story, and we're going out today to watch Being the Ricardos.
I just became a pro account. They're not even a sponsor of the show. I just became a pro member. And Pete, do you know who my number 1 star is in 2021 that I've seen the most movies of?
Actress. 2021. I don't know. Who is it?
Jamie Lee Curtis. I have seen
Curtis.
7 movies of hers.
Work,
Jamie.
We love you, JLC. Oh, man. So, yeah, head on out and do all that fun stuff. Thank you for listening, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.